Parental level of shock with that too. You're just sitting going,
Life without Lyra has been hard on her close group of friends. They cared about marriage equality in Northern Ireland before. Now it's a matter of Lyra McKee's legacy.
I think Lyra's death was a catalyst, but I think it was a catalyst for something massive.
She deserves something. You know what I mean? She was just full of life. She deserves something to be remembered by, not just us sitting chatting about her and missing her.
Before she was shot in Derry last month, Lyra was planning an elaborate engagement to her partner Sarah. But Northern Ireland is the only part of the UK where same-sex marriage is not legal. The UK government has been the only functioning government here for some time. Propped up, remember, after the last election by the DUP, the party that vetoed marriage equality before the Northern Ireland executive broke down.
And it says you are exactly the same as
Scottish Tory leader Ruth Davidson, herself engaged to her partner Jen, had championed equal marriage in Northern Ireland. She backed the DUP deal, but only after getting a significant promise from Theresa May on LGBTI rights.
But what I spoke to the Prime Minister about was the need for a categoric assurance that talking with the DUP would not result in any rollback of LGBTI rights, and also that we would use our influence to try and advance LGBT rights in Northern Ireland. And their assurances that I got.
Now, it's almost 2 years since the UK government gave its categoric assurance to try and use its influence to advance LGBTI rights here in Northern Ireland. What's been happening? Well, we asked the Northern Ireland office what they'd spent on advancing LGBTI rights here. There was just one item of expenditure in their reply: £318 on rainbow-coloured lanyards, optional for staff during the Pride Festival last year. What has the UK government done in 2 years to advance LGBTI rights here?
Nothing.
no, absolutely
Nothing.
nothing.
Nothing?
Nothing.
Nothing. If they have, it's been completely intangible.
Yeah.
Well, we asked the Northern Ireland office how much they'd spent on advancing LGBTI rights here in 2 years. They told us they'd spent £318.
Well, whoa. But that doesn't surprise me because there has been no advancement of rights. So there should not be any money spent on
In light
advancing
of what the
rights.
MLAs are still being paid and not working for 2 years, that makes me so angry. It makes me so angry.
The only item of expenditure that they told us about under freedom of information were lanyards with rainbow-coloured straps.
That makes me feel so worthless. That actually makes me, that literally devalues me when you think about it, you know. That's
Makes you even more insignificant, an insignificant community.
What do you think Lyra would say if she were sitting here now?
she'd be tweeting Ruth Davidson. She'd be tweeting going, would you go back to Theresa May? And she'd be tweeting Theresa, did you give Ruth Davidson that?
As part of the gay community, I would like Ruth to go and ask, what is the crack with the guarantee? You give me your word.
So what is Ruth Davidson's verdict 2 years after that promise?
I'm deeply disappointed that we haven't seen equal marriage happen there yet. I've been speaking to politicians over there. You know, I've spoken in Belfast on this issue, and I would love to see it come true.
But are you disappointed about the action or the inaction of the UK government since you got that assurance? Because has there been any advance in LGBTI rights in Northern Ireland?
Well, that's why I think that one of the priorities we need is to get the Stormont Assembly up and running again. You have to have a legislature to pass the law, and unfortunately, we've seen Stormont just not functioning. Now, I've spoken...
People want the UK government to have taken action as well in Northern Ireland, and we've spoken to friends of Lyra McKee who say that absolutely nothing has been done by the UK government, and also that money that has been spent, that small sum, makes them feel devalued.
Well, look, like I say, I can't speak about the finances of the Northern Ireland office because I have no knowledge of it.
But is that what your promise was worth, £318?
No, I don't think that's fair. I've been working incredibly hard. I've been over in Northern Ireland. I've spoken to community groups there. I've spoken to religious leaders that are opposed to this.
Lyra McKee's friends want you to go back to the Prime Minister on this promise and tell her that they can't be ignored.
But I'm happy to go back to the Prime Minister and talk about this, and happy to go back to the people I've already lobbied. I want to see it happen, and I'm happy to keep going.
At Lyra's funeral, her partner Sarah certainly made sure the Prime Minister heard. If Stormont can't, Westminster must.
To tell us that issues like gay marriage and abortion rights are a devolved matter is completely out of order.
The UK government says it supports same-sex marriage for the whole of the UK, but told us again tonight the fundamental position remains that it is fully devolved in Northern Ireland. Cross-party talks on resuming power sharing were held this week, an opportunity, the UK government says, for the parties to discuss how they can address the issue.
Community-based.
Tomorrow, Lyra's partner will lead thousands on a march for marriage equality, and all her old friends will be there to show the people are ready, even if the politics is not.
Well, earlier I spoke to the Northern Ireland Programme Director for Amnesty International, Patrick Corrigan, one of the organisers of tomorrow's March for Marriage Equality in Belfast. I asked him how strongly people felt about this issue in Northern Ireland.
This is a really big issue in Northern Ireland. I mean, we are now 5 years behind the rest of the UK, 4 years behind the rest of Ireland. Thousands of people will be taken to the streets of Belfast tomorrow. It really is quite symbolic of, is Northern Ireland a progressive, inclusive society, or is it some backwater where rights are ignored? And to date, sadly, the UK government has ignored them in the absence of devolution. They haven't lifted a finger to advance equal marriage here, for instance. This morning, we saw a series of UK government ministers championing what had just happened in Taiwan with the parliament there passing an equal marriage vote, yet totally ignoring our calls in Northern Ireland for them to do exactly the same by extending the UK equal marriage legislation to couples in Northern Ireland. So people are angry, they're deeply frustrated, and they want to see action.
How do you propose that the UK government does step in whilst maintaining that principle of devolution?
It's very straightforward. You know, we haven't actually had the reality of devolution for almost 2.5 years. They can do it simply by extending the England and Wales legislation to Northern Ireland, or by providing parliamentary time for either of the two private members' bills that have been introduced both in the House of Lords and the House of Commons, rather than simply championing marriage equality around the world. Do it in your own backyard within the UK, in Northern Ireland, where thousands of people will be marching tomorrow, demanding that our rights are equalised with people in the rest of the UK.
And would you want the government to step in on abortion too, which is also currently illegal in Northern Ireland?
Yes, I mean, we have Alabama-style abortion laws in Northern Ireland. Alabama has more progressive LGBT laws than we have in Northern Ireland. So the UK government, of course, should be stepping in on that.
You use quite diplomatic terminology, asking the government to step in, but isn't it tantamount to reintroducing direct rule? And there would be some pretty negative consequences of that for relations between the communities in Northern Ireland.
In the absence of devolution, there is only one government for Northern Ireland, and it's in Westminster, and they should live up to their responsibilities. And rather than simply talk the talk, we want them to put their money where their mouth is. And to date, the paltry sum of money that they have devoted to this issue and the paltry attention that they've devoted to it shows that they're not really serious about delivering equality for people in Northern Ireland. That has to change, and we would ask Theresa May, perhaps in her final weeks in Downing Street, to actually stand up and be counted for equality for people in Northern Ireland, and she would go out at least with that to her record.